Hello, everybody, and welcome to a really exciting time for me because, well, let's start with the full story. I've been sick for almost a week, and it's been a bummer. And what I started to do is I started to play some old games on my phone since I've been kind of bedridden and didn't want to get up. So, I started playing some Air Tycoon offline. I was like, this game is kind of a blast. I kind of want to play the online version again. So here I am. Now, the very eagle-eyed of you will immediately notice I have a lot of credits. Why do I have so many credits? Well, the first thing I want to say and want to reassure you guys is that I will not be using any of these credits. I will be a completely free to play level income player. I will spend some of the credits I get as if I were a free to play player, maybe about 30 on maintenance depots in my biggest hubs. Other than that, I won't buy any airports. I will not be getting airplane upgrades, maybe except for one or two for shits and giggles, kind of a meme kind of routes, that kind of thing, if that kind of situation comes up. Um, so why did I purchase these? It is mainly to unlock the VIP passes. Now, what these let me do is, of course, it lets me play in a way which makes it much, much easier to record. Kind of getting a good recording of Air Tycoon Online was quite difficult with having to make sure you have slots everywhere and planes ready before you start going and that kind of stuff. And having to remember to log on every 30 minutes to purchase planes just became unsustainable for me very quickly in the past. And this kind of playstyle means I should be able to not play for 2 or 3 days, um, come back and play all at once, which is really what I need to be able to make a playthrough of this game work now. And now that I'm a bit older, have a little bit of disposable income, I think that's a completely fair thing to do. Now, so what is my strategy? As you can see, we've started in London. How could we not start in London? I'm a man of habit. I will not be starting in some random new location. We are, starting in our home. Now, you may have noticed, if you're very eagle-eyed as well, it's 1969.7. This means those of you who really want to, you guys probably have about 8 hours to catch this game before it's no longer joinable. Um, so please do try and get in. This is channel 208 if you can't see the channel number. Um, so yeah, I really hope if you want to get in, you can join up and join me in this world. Now, for those of you who are returning viewers, thanks so much for staying patient as I've been active for such long periods of time. Of course, a mobile game like this is never gonna be my entire life, but it can always be like fun parts of it. So here we are. Anyhow, for those longtime viewers, you will know what strategy I'm going for. And this is a Tupolev 124 and Boeing 747 strategy. Now, basically, the idea of this is in this game, if you're a new viewer and haven't heard of the strategy before, the Tupolev 124 is the cheapest aircraft in this game. The Tupolev 134 is very close, and there's some other really cheap aircraft that are available, the AN-24. I do want to experiment with using this as a mainstay, but it's very, very slow speed. Looks like a bit of a turnoff to me, even as a cargo plane. So, anyhow, with that in mind, why do I want to use Tupolev 124s and Boeing 747s? Well, very soon the Boeing 747 is going to come to market. It's not here yet, but it is released sometime in 1969, and this is the latest server I could find, so obviously this is the server where it's the closest to being released. Why is this important? Well, the Boeing 747 is one of the best aircraft in this game. It's very efficient and given a extremely high satisfaction rating. I don't know what it comes as, but as you can see, the 707 is like 76%, where I can guarantee you a new 747 is at least 120% on this metric. And it is very important for high load factors, and especially important for competitive routes, which it's very likely we're going to get many of. But the even more important about it is the Tupolev 124 is cheap, 747 is expensive. So why is this important? Well, you can lease 747-100s, which has always been one of the strangest things in the game to me because it's one of the best aircraft. If we take a look at the current leasing market, these are almost all garbage. The 707-120 is very good, but the 707-320 is better in almost every way. The DC-8 is really terrible. Did you say 11 at least? It's quite short range. It is stopover capable, so I'll give it that. But it's too short range to stop over between North America and Asia, which is kind of the most important stopover layout, which is North America, Europe, Asia. Almost every stopover route before planes become trans-Pacific ranged, which they're not yet. Um, this is very important. So, what the Tupolev 124 747 strategy is, put simply after ranting for so long, is we buy seven Tupolev 124s, which are very cheap, fly them on short range routes whilst not making a lot of money on these routes. What we do accomplish is we have a lot and a lot of planes. For every 10 planes you own, or you're operating, not 10 planes you own, every 10 planes you're operating, you can lease 3 aircraft. However, these 3 leased aircraft include themselves in the total operating planes count. And the best way you can lease the most 747s is by purchasing the most Tupolev 124s. For example, I could purchase 707s and lease 747s. But if I did that, since the 707 is more than 4 times as expensive as a Tupolev 124, um, I'll be able to lease almost 4 times less 747s. That's no good. I want to spend more of my money leasing 747s than I do purchasing 124s. And that's kind of the trick to this system. Now, it is extremely volatile in the sense that Tupolev 124s barely make any money. And as you see, I'll have no 747s, and you'll see how much money I lose next turn or how little I make at the very least. But I'll probably lose money for until the 747s start coming in. So yeah, um, that is kind of the strategy we're doing here. The other big benefit of this is you occupy an incredible number of slots in your home base, um, and you can convert these into long range routes. So short range routes take up many slots while producing little money. Long range routes use little slots while producing a lot of money. Kind of the net result is you really want more long range routes. But at the beginning of the game, you have access to less of them. So this is a good way to occupy those slots with short range routes until you can occupy them with even more long range routes. Anyhow, having said all that, we're just going to take a quick kind of review of other strategies I'm employing, investments, etc. Whatnot. Is of course we have no advertising investment costs so far. This, of course, tells me a different story. We're going to increase that a little bit. And the other thing we've done is, let me take a look at where it is the customer service investment. So first of all, the game started me on 31.4, which is very, very generous. This is like investing like at least a rate of 6 since the beginning of the game. Most people will not because it's quite expensive. See, this is costing me 3.3K already. This is going to be a huge proportion of my expenses, these 2 expenses next turn. And I think the time where these are most valuable to kind of pump up and do a lot early game, not so much the advertising investment, but the service investment is at the beginning of the game. Because at the beginning of the game, your margin is going to be the highest, relatively speaking. And as your company gets bigger, your ability to micromanage things can get lower, and your margin will go lower. So I highly recommend maxing out customer service level at the beginning. Now, one thing I do kind of want to do, and I'm not sure if I'm 100% sure I want to go through and do all of this, is unbuying all the extra slots I have everywhere. I do think it's worth it, monetarily speaking, like genuinely, but also with 1.9 billion, is that starting cash, or 1.9 million K? Let's go with I don't know if I can get out of this habit, but I remember when I used to call the amount of money I'd have here 1.9K, when I'm really talking about 1.9 million K. Like that was really weird. I would do that. So like, what do you think, guys, would be an appropriate delineation of money. Do you think it's easier to say 1.9 million K? Is it easier to say this is 1.9 million? But of course, in late game, that would probably get confusing because we might have three or more digits in that. Um, or should I just say it as it is? Um, 2 billion. Is this 2 billion? Yes, this is 2 billion. So like, I have no idea, um, kind of which system I should use. Or if you guys are just like very flexible and open to the fact that if I say it and it's off by 1,000 times, you kind of know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like if I say a Tupolev is worth 22K, um, you guys get it, right? So I think that's probably the best way to do it. Um, is to kind of just like take off the K off the end and assume everything is not in digits of 1,000 because that might just be the easiest way to do it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Um, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.